Hello there, welcome to Joy News Today. Coming up, Inspector General of Police leads high-profile security officers to the scene where 2 police officers were killed in a quarry accident on the Wale-Wale-Bolga Road while responding to a distress call on that stretch. We have details. An angry mob attacks police and smashes 2 of their vehicles for attempting to stop them from lynching a man alleged to have threatened a Muslim cleric in Tamale.
Breaking our windscreens, some of the vehicles were vandalized. 2 vehicles absolutely had their windscreens all shattered. Some of the officers also received some sort of beatings.
Greater Accra region to begin enforcement of sanitation bylaws as President Akufo-Addo launches the Operation Clean Your Frontage campaign on his 2nd day of the Greater Accra region tour. And Periga community gets massive facelift ahead of funeral of the late mother of Vice President Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia slated for this weekend. We'll tell you more. We have business, sports, world news, and show business all coming up in this package. My name is Mama Views Fawadi. Thanks for staying with us. The Inspector General of Police, Dr. George Ekufu-Dampare, has visited the accident scene where 2 police officers, including a unit's commander, lost their lives while chasing armed robbers on the Wale-Wale-Bolga Road. 3 other officers sustained severe injuries after their vehicle crashed in that fatal accident Thursday evening. The officers were said to be members of the Special Anti-Robbery Task Force responding to an emergency on the road when the incident occurred at Karimenga near Bolga. The accident comes at the back of the deployment of over 300 security personnel to the municipal capital, Wale-Wale, ahead of the final funeral rites for the late mother of Vice President Alhaji Mahamudu Bawumia on Saturday. Eliasu Tanko has more.
Although police in the region have remained tight-lipped, the Director General of Public Affairs confirmed the incident in a statement. Eyewitnesses, however, claimed the officers were pursuing robbers when their vehicle suddenly veered off the road, somersaulted multiple times before crashing into a ditch after the driver allegedly attempted to dodge an approaching vehicle. They were rushed to the Wale-Wale Hospital, where the 2 were confirmed dead and the other seriously injured. Both the bodies and the injured were later transferred to the Tamale Teaching Hospital and were being prepared to be airlifted to Accra for further examinations, according to the police. Several police officers thronged the Wale-Wale Government Hospital to catch a glimpse of their injured as well as former colleagues before they were taken away. Chairman of the Municipal Security Council was also at the hospital, but none of them was willing to speak with the media. It also comes as hundreds of security personnel are deployed in Wale-Wale ahead of the performance of the final funeral rite for the late mother of the Vice President, who is also the chairman of the National Police Council. Eliasu Tanko reporting.
Well, police in Tamale were Thursday afternoon attacked by a mob attempting to lynch a man alleged to have threatened a Muslim cleric. 2 vehicles belonging to the police were also smashed in the process. The mob charged at the police for coming to the rescue of their victim. Northern Regional Crime Officer Superintendent Bernard Baba Ananga confirmed the incident to Joy News.
The story was just that the person dared those clerics, challenging them to come and burn his traditional worshiping idols. For that matter, some people were not happy about that and decided to look for him. So we went there, immediately called the command and went there, joined by other officers to go and rescue this gentleman. And when we got there, the crowd was so thick. A lot of people were thronging that area in an attempt to catch a glimpse, others in an attempt to attack and then lynch him. Subsequently, the regional police commander mobilized more men which proceeded to assist. We went there, met some opinion leaders of the mosques around the area, and came to an agreement to rescue the said gentleman to police station to conduct investigations. However, some of the people, that is the mob, were not happy about that. So in an attempt to rescue the person, some started throwing stones, others were also attacking the police. And we had to fire some few shots before we could get away. But along the line, they succeeded in breaking our windscreens. Some of the vehicles were vandalized. 2 vehicles absolutely had their windscreens all shattered. Some of our officers also received some sort of beating somehow, but we managed to rescue the person to the police station. You know, and the Ghana Police Service, our core mandate is protection of life, and very necessary, very paramount. Before we then talk about our own vehicles that were damaged, we have brought him here for his own safety, and then also probably the safety of others, and also to assure the community that peace is the way forward in dealing with situations like that, and that we should not always take the law into our own hands when we want to deal with issues like that.
Superintendent Ananga also tells Joy News no arrests have been made yet.
Investigations are ongoing to identify those persons that caused the victim's arrest. The command is interested and curious to know the reasons for all that instead of resorting to the law enforcement agency. Meanwhile, we sympathize with them for such acts or comments by any person who likely to say something against somebody's beliefs, which we know the Constitution guarantees each and everyone's belief. We are in talking terms with the Muslim community here to find the best way forward to ensure the safety of the victim in our custody. We know Tamale here is an Islamic community, mostly most of the members here are Muslims. For such comments to be made and posted on the social media, we, the command here, disagree with the victim's stand. However, we need to do all that possible to ensure his safety and to make sure that people do not take the law into their own hands to attack people or, in effect, vandalize police vehicles. Some of our members or some of our personnel were also attacked in a way because they were not happy that we came in early to rescue him. However, we are taking a stand which is negotiable. He's still with us in our custody. We are keeping him in a secret location for his own safety.
Police officers, we understand, are being airlifted to Accra for further management. My colleague Martina Bugri joins us with more. Martina, what's the status of the movements of the injured to Accra?
Left a while ago, but the ICP arrived in Tamale this morning and headed to the Tamale Teaching Hospital where the 2 were being kept, and then he helped facilitate the process to get them airlifted. A while ago, they drove out, and we are told that a chopper is ready at the Tamale airport, ready to airlift them. And so as soon as they arrive at the airport, they would move them in, and then they head to Accra. They also left with the body of the 2 who died yesterday.
Martina, help us understand. So this man who was being allegedly lynched, what did he do?
This man who was lynched he posted a video of insulting or daring a Muslim cleric, one of the acclaimed Muslim clerics in the metropolis, that if he believed the God he was serving was stronger, he should dare to burn his shrine or the gods that he serves, and then he would see how people would die or he would die. It says that they are just confusing people about the Muslim religion. But that didn't go well with the people, the followers of this cleric, and so they massed up at his house when some people arrested him and then brought him to the mosque.
Okay. Apologies, Martina, because I think I'm mixing the two issues. So the IGP is there for the police officers involved in that accident, correct?
Exactly, sir.
Okay, but what has he been speaking to the media?
No, what he did was he delegated his regional crime officer to speak to the media, and he says that these 5 people were from Accra as part of a team to help combat the robbery that had increased on the Bolga-Tamale highway. And so it was on one of their missions that their vehicle was involved in an accident, and 2 died and 2 are critically injured.
Mm. We also understand that they were chasing some robbers. Do we know whether or not those people were arrested?
He didn't give details about that. All he just said was that they were on a hunt for some people, and then the accident happened.
Martina, we'll leave it here. That's our correspondent in Tamale, Martina Bugri, giving us some update, even as we understand the IGP is in Tamale. Moving on, founder and leader of the Perez Chapel, Bishop Charles Ajinasari, has cautioned the military against indulging in unlawful takeovers amid the myriad of unresolved challenges facing the ordinary Ghanaian. Speaking at the annual Security Services National Day of Prayer held at the Garrison Methodist Presbyterian Church at Bema Camp here in Accra, Bishop Ajinasari admonished the military not to allow greed and love for money to drive them to seize power in the country.
In our sub-region, we are seeing coup d'etats and power grabs like in Mali, Chad, and Guinea. These show soldiers who are no longer under authority but have made themselves the authority. Bad as it may seem, I would lay much of the blame on the political class of those nations. They changed constitutions to suit their selfish ambitions and increased their salaries without increasing those of the ordinary citizen. Many entered into politics without much, but in 4 years owned houses and fleet of cars, whilst the populace lacked basic amenities. Once many of these politicians came to power, they became autocratic or tin gods who could not be criticized without unleashing their attack dogs on the critics. Some governments have also turned the civil and public service upside down by sacking competent people and replacing them with party faithfuls, some of whom are very incompetent. The governments also engaged and pretended over economic mismanagement. People's protests constantly fell on deaf ears and did not result in any meaningful change. It also shows that the people's demand for change does not just lie in the ECOWAS heads of states always sanctioning coups when they happen, but rather advising the heads of states to also abide by their constitutional mandates and not to make the nation about themselves without considering the people and their suffering. In our dear country, Ghana, we don't want the men in uniform to be in politics. In short, we don't want a coup d'etat. Is it that we don't have problems like we see in the sub-region? We do have the same problems. Be content with your wages. It is true that most military and service personnel are poorly remunerated. Even though your job requires you to defend the citizenry, sometimes at the risk of your own lives, it is very unfortunate that your salaries are often not commensurate with your responsibility. That notwithstanding, taking bribes ends up affecting the same people you swore to protect. The Bible says in Deuteronomy chapter 16 verse 19, you shall not pervert justice. Please don't let greed or the love of money drive you to want to do a coup d'etat.
Bishop Ajinasari also cautioned the soldiers against brutalizing citizens, warning such acts could lead to a rebellious society.
Do violence to no man. I watched videos of ordinary citizens being brutalized by servicemen for stealing a serviceman's phone. Some of the people were made to roll over in the streets, others forced into drains, others beaten and battered in war. The president of the nation had to apologize to the overlord of the Wala traditional area this July. It happened when armed officers who accompanied officials of VRA and NECO to arrest persons stealing power and mercilessly whipped those suspects before arresting them. Even some suspects in handcuffs were not spared. They were brazenly brutalized by the police in the full glare of cameras. I also saw on Joy News stories of people beaten, ladies raped, property vandalized by service personnel in other parts of the country. A wise man said, and I quote, "With great power comes great responsibility," unquote. Unfortunately, it seems some servicemen think that with great power comes great invincibility. Because they carry a gun and have physical strength, some soldiers and servicemen have forgotten that they enlisted in the army and the police and other service agencies to serve the people. But instead they subjugate the weak and the helpless. When Peter tried to use violence to silence a certain group of people, Jesus rebuked him, saying, "They that live by the sword will die by the sword." We could rephrase this to say, those that use violence will also suffer violence. It is just wrong to do violence to innocent people. Moreover, the violent treatment of people breeds radical terrorists, because for some, after 3-4 years, when they have still not seen justice, they therefore seek to take the law into their own hands or easily join terrorist or rebel movements.
Cross over to the courts, where Assistant Commissioner of Police Dr. Benjamin Agojo could suffer the death penalty if the current high treason charge against him in court is proven. But even as he fights this battle for his life, he's fighting for his job as a senior police officer. ACP Dr. Benjamin Agojo has been on interdiction since November 2019, when he and others were alleged to have been involved in the plot to remove the President of the Republic in the coup. The state contends that as a senior police officer, if he remains at post, he can influence the course of investigation. But for over a year, ACP Dr. Agojo has been in court in an attempt to be fully reinstated, even as the court tries his case. According to him, his continuous interdiction is unlawful because per police regulations, any such interdiction of an officer must be revoked after 3 months if no internal disciplinary procedures is held against such officer. My colleague Kweku Asante was in court today. He has joined us with more. Kweku, before you give us details of what happened in court today, give us a brief understanding of this case.
Right. So we know that Dr. ACP Agojo and 9 others were arrested by the police and were charged with high treason for allegedly taking part in a plot to destabilize the country and also engage in a coup d'etat. So they did that, and the state has been charging them. They first charged them with treason felony. The court moved to change the charge to high treason, and 3 judges are currently hearing the suit. And over a year now, ACP Agojo was interdicted by the police administration with the idea that as a senior police officer, just 2 ranks below that of the IGP, if he's allowed to still be in office, then he may be able to influence the course of investigations. And so for that reason, he must stay on interdiction. ACP Agojo for 1 year now has been going to court to try and change that rule and say that after 3 months, all these issues should have been settled and I should be back as a police officer. The state has not budged, and so he's been in court trying to change this.
Was the state prosecutor in court today, and why has the case itself been adjourned again?
Right, so the state was not available in court today. They were not present, but his lawyer, Martin Kwebu, had actually been arguing to the court that per authorities that he can authoritatively cite. Some of these issues can be fully trashed out within the police regulations before some of these things are done. And so today he presented 6 authorities that he thinks will sway the judge in his judgment to the court. And so the court has now adjourned the case to 22nd November for the case to continue, for the state to come and also file their response to the issues that have been raised, and then maybe a date for judgment will be set.
So let's get it clear, Kweku. This is not the substantive matter that has to do with the coup, right?
Right, and so the specific matter having to do with the coup is currently in the High Court, but in front of 3 other judges who are hearing this, who are saying that that case is steadily progressing. That case was adjourned somewhere in April. It has not gone back to court, but this one has to do with the specific issue of the interdiction of ACP Agojo, for which reason is challenging that it cannot be on interdiction for 2 years because per the regulations, after 3 months had expired and no internal disciplinary measures were taken against him, he should have been returned to work.
Did the judge finally give any indication what would happen at the next sitting?
No, the judge was very much conservative today, did not speak so much, just went straight to the issue when Martin Pewu actually presented the 6 authorities that he believes will sway the judge in her judgment. And so they just took a date for adjournment because the state was also not present in court. The court directed them to ensure that the state had been served with this new adjourned date for them to be able to present in court and then also present their arguments.
Kweku Asante, we'll leave it here. Thank you very much. This afternoon, offenders of sanitation bylaws to face at least 6 months jail time as government launches Operation Clean Your Frontage in a renewed push to make Accra the cleanest in Africa. We're live at the Independence Square, where the president is inaugurating a task force to enforce the bylaw. This afternoon, you could be facing... Oh, Manuel Cranting is joining us with more. Manuel, what can you report?
Well, so, Mama V, the law actually targets 3 categories of people. First of all, owners of residential facilities, also owners of industrial and commercial properties, and then finally owners of private or public offices. These people are expected to be in charge of cleaning the immediate land space front of their structures. Indeed, they are also expected to procure, bins that they'll be using to collect the refuse for accredited waste collectors by the city of Tamale to come through and collect them.
Hey, Manuel, you have to speak up a bit. It's been a bit difficult hearing you, but who are the targets essentially?
The targets of this particular bylaw essentially are owners of residential buildings, also owners of industrial and commercial properties, and then of course owners of private and public office spaces. Now these people are expected to be in charge of cleaning the immediate land mass in front of their buildings, expected to procure and use also refuse bins, and indeed after collecting their waste, there are accredited waste collectors who are supposed to be coming around to collect them, and so they are only supposed to give their waste to these accredited waste collectors, Mama V.
And practically what happens when one is arrested?
Well, one has to flout this particular regulation before he or she can be arrested. We know that the city authorities are expected to, in the event that people default on the regulation, they're expected to collect the waste and then surcharge the offenders. And so the cost of collecting the waste will now be levied on the offenders. But specifically speaking to Section 8 of the bylaw, people who offend this particular law are liable to summary conviction of between 100 and 250 penalty units, and also liable to a jail term of not less than 6 months and not more than 12 months, or a combination of both. And so these are essentially the lines of sanctioning that have been raised within this particular bylaw, Mamavi.
Are there spot fines?
Well, the law does not mention spot fine exactly, but as it is, people who flout the law now will, as it will be, necessitates the workings of the city authority. So the city authorities are not supposed to be taking monies from anybody. When people offend the laws, they will go right in and then do the work. After that, they will surcharge the offenders.
Manuel Kranting, thank you very much. Let's cross over now. Our presidential affairs correspondent, Elton Brobe, is at the Independence Square and joins us with more on the story. Elton, what more are you picking up, from this bylaw in terms of when is it kicking in?
So Baba, this is the second day of the president's tour of the meeting. So the first port of call, we are currently at the Traditional Council, where the president is meeting the government and the chiefs that make up the council. And then from here, we'll move to the Blackstar Square, where the Operation Clean Your Frontage will be launched. My information is that this is just, the launch will be just the first step towards a more broader initiative geared towards making Accra great again. And on Tuesday, there will be another launch, and this time is to ban bicycles, also known as Amoboya, from using the roads here in Greater Accra region, especially the inner roads. They'll be restricted to the outskirts, and that if you are found, riding the tricycle within the city of Greater Accra, you might be arrested and punished. And the Greater Accra Regional Minister has hinted that they are already discussing ways to ensure that they keep up with their economic activity, even though they may be restricted from using the business district and other designated areas. So that will come up on Tuesday. The launch for the Cleaning Your Frontage, that one is coming up in the next hour. But currently, and then coming up for the first time, is a proposal that has been put before President Akufo-Addo by the government, Ni Tekichu II, who was inducted into the Greater Accra Regional House of Chiefs this week. It made an appeal to President Akufo-Addo to change the name Greater Accra Region to Ghana Region. This proposal has been put forth. President Akufo-Addo says that it is his responsibility to do so, and for that reason, they will consult, and if it is feasible, they will communicate their response to the Ghana Traditional Council. So that has been one of the main demands of the Traditional Council here. The meeting is still ongoing. There's also issues about chieftaincy issues within the traditional area. Even the position of Damanche for over 20 years has been a very contentious issue. It was just until this week that finality was brought to this matter. The government wants to collaborate with government to resolve all outstanding chieftaincy issues within the traditional authority. And government says that they will be more than willing to lend a hand in bringing these chieftaincy issues to a halt. But their major demand is that the name Greater Accra Region is changed to Ghana Dangwe Region. That proposal, President Akufo-Addo says, will be considered, and if feasible, will report back to the chief.
It's interesting, Elton, they make this suggestion. What's the justification?
Well, the chief says that they want to identify more of the region. They have the view that Ghana Dangwe is more appropriate, and for that reason, if it is possible, the name Greater Accra is changed to Ghana Dangwe. That has been the justification. Beyond that, nothing more has been said. But President Akufo-Addo says that a change in the administrative capital will require some consultation and some steps. If it is feasible, then they will have to engage the chiefs more on the way forward on this.
Elton, we'll leave it here. Elton Brobe is our presidential affairs correspondent, following the president as he enters a second day of his tour of the Greater Accra region. Now, the Periga community in Wale Wale has seen a drastic facelift as part of preparations for the final funeral rites of the late mother of the Vice President, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia. Ahead of the ceremony on Saturday, roads, street lights and some abandoned projects in the community are being fixed. Residents of the community have been reacting to the development with lots of excitement. Correspondent Elias Etanko has more.
Alhaji Mahamudu Bawumia has arrived in his hometown Wale Wale along with several other dignitaries for the funeral of his late mother Hajia Mariapa Mumuni, who died last month after a short illness. The funeral ceremony is slated to begin Saturday and end on Sunday, with thousands of mourners, including the president, expected to be in attendance. As part of preparations, however, the Kpiriga community has received an unprecedented facelift. There have been overnight constructions of new roads, street lights are being fixed, and heaps of rubbish being cleared in the area. This road, which links to the private residence of the vice president and had been abandoned as part of the Wale Wale Township Roads project, has suddenly been worked on. The same with this road at other end, which links directly to the funeral ground. The Kpiriga Primary School, which is the venue for the ceremony, has also witnessed some form of renovation. The development has left the community members talking instead of mourning. Assemblyman for the area, Sedi Donko Isa, however, says the people are thankful to the authorities for the ongoing works.
For them saying that the street lights were not there, for me, they may be right in a way, but there were street lights in the electoral area before. They have been added, some have been replaced, because we were just appealing to the assembly to come and do some maintenance. But since they have come, they have replaced some of them. And we are very happy. About the rules, it's a welcome news to us. It's like once a man said, when they were coming to do it, one of them said, this is an opportunity for us. And it's like a by-election. So we are happy for them coming to do some rules for us.
The municipal chief executive, Arumia Osomolake, who is a member of the funeral planning committee, denied the residents' claim while giving details of the funeral arrangements.
People may say whatever they want, but the truth of the matter is that this is a contract that was awarded even when our mother was still strong. And you could see what of the roads that have been tied already. We have the Kukwasgu roads that have been tied, the Wale Wale Wungu road that have been tied, the Wale Wale Tampulungu road that have been tied. Who now associate that one to death? We don't wish that. But it would have been a good news if we have our mother passing on, and that also brings development to us. That is, it's not bad at all, but that is out of order, because we already have our contracts in order, and the contractors are working.
The MCA also said measures have been put in place to ensure a successful funeral ceremony.
As we speak, we have over 300 police personnel that are going to deploy between Wale Wale and its surrounding. And a lot of checkpoints will also be there to make sure that those who are coming are not affected by anybody. But you can see that security situation in Wale Wale has improved tremendously. For the past 3 months or so, we haven't even heard of an attempt of robbery in the municipality. From today, the clerics, especially the ulama of the Muslim Council, will start prayers for our departed mother from today up to tomorrow evening, which will continue with traditional activities. We'll have a lot of cultural dance and other events. The final of Musketeers will start from tomorrow Friday up to Sunday morning. Then after Sunday morning, they will now have the official program. I think everything is in order. We are praying to the Almighty Allah to guide us to have a successful program.
Ilyas Sutanko reporting.
All right, you're watching Joy News. We'll take a breather. We will be back with business. Stay with us. Welcome to business. Entrepreneurs must step up their game in ensuring that their businesses have good corporate governance policies. That's according to Communications Officer at the Stanford Seed Transformation Network, Karen Evans-Ham, who believes accessing credit facilities could be much easier if the best practices are observed. She spoke to Joy Business after this year's Stanford Seed Transformation Business and Leadership Conference to address challenges faced by business owners.
So the whole concept of the transformation program is to take businesses that are growing to help them to scale up. So we are on this transformation journey. So each year we look at things that are facing or are hurting the various businesses, and we see what we can bring on board to help them to scale up. So the transformation continuum, which simply means continuous transformation, is to help, we are just recovering from the COVID, which impacted quite a number of the businesses. And so we are here to arm them with how to stabilize and then to reboot, basically, to help them to move on to continue with the transformation journey that we all are on. The reason why we also focused on access to funding is after you are done with the business plan and you have the big ideas, you've done your dreaming, you've done your market assessment and everything, now you need to actionalize that plan. So, and you can't just, a lot of times you need to put some money behind the plan to make it work. And we realize that a lot of the businesses are suffering from sometimes even readiness to even get the funding. And for those who are ready, where the funding is. And so we brought the stakeholders who have some funding available to help those businesses that are ready and prepared to access the funding. So before you get into funding, you have to be prepared. You don't just, it doesn't just happen. So even the getting ready for the funding is a process. So we help the businesses to prepare to receive the funding, and then when they are ready, then we give them the access to those who are ready with the funding to support them.
We move over to the Ashanti region, where some entrepreneurs have received business development training to expand their businesses. The training, which spanned for 6 months, saw at least 10 entrepreneurs equipped with various business skills to ensure their sustainability. There's more in this report.
The Green Incubation Program, which was organized by SNV Ghana, provided training for entrepreneurs in agriculture, renewable energy, and energy efficiency and water, sanitation and hygiene sectors. Senior Incubation and Acceleration Advisor of the Green Project, Genevieve Parker-Chum, reviewed most of the participating SMEs have seen drastic improvements in their enterprises.
At SNV, we are responsible for two main results, that's employability and entrepreneurship, providing support for entrepreneurs. And so what we are doing today is the graduation ceremony of the first cohort of entrepreneurs that we've supported in the incubation program. They have gone through 6 months of training. They were posted to the hubs, and we've worked with Kumasi Hive, Hyperspace, Women's Haven, and then Recycle Up here in Kumasi. And they've gone through a period of 6 months where they were given support for strengthening their operations. First of all, some of them had not even registered their businesses, so we helped them to do that. And then they were given support for strengthening their core businesses, putting their finances and their records and all that together, and then getting ready such that they can actually be ready for investment. And we've also not just provided the support for training, but also introducing them, exposing them to potential investors so they have discussions, find out what exactly investors are looking for and how they can prepare themselves to be able to access the investment. One other key thing that we've done with them is to help them expand their market.
The training program, funded by the European Union, saw entrepreneurs being equipped with skills during sessions organized by Recycle Up Ghana, Kumasi Hive, Women's Haven, and Hyperspace. The entrepreneurs were taken through business formalization, resource acquisition, business plan writing to access funds and grants, employability skills, product planting, and development skills. One of the outstanding SME awardees, Foster Osai, indicated the training has had a tremendous impact on a startup business.
This program has been beneficial to me in so many diverse ways, where it has helped me to streamline formalize my business. Through this, I've been able to come up with product. When I came here, my product wasn't in the market, but through their help and their motivation, the training I went through, I'm now in the market and I'm producing in a large quantity right now.
Reporter for Joy News, Kwesi Deborah.
And that's all in business. We've got sports coming up shortly with Muftau Nabila Abdullahi. Stay with us.
Hello, time now for sports on Joy News today with me, Muftau Nabila Abdullahi. President of the Confederation of African Football, Dr. Patrice Motsepe, says Ghana is one of the countries in the continent with the potential to win the FIFA World Cup. Speaking at a press conference, Dr. Motsepe said Ghana is a country with special talents. Saudi Arabia earlier this year submitted a proposal to FIFA to host the World Cup every 2 years. This has led to debates across the globe over its feasibility. But Mossepe says it will benefit developing countries, including Europe, who have kicked against the idea.
I will tell you as president of CAF, and there's going to be lots of discussions and there are disagreements. I saw in the media that there was a suggestion that if the majority votes for the World Cup to take place every 2 years, Europe will boycott the World Cup. Now, I was told that that is in the media, and so I don't want to comment on that. But what I know clearly in my mind, one of the biggest beneficiaries of a World Cup every 2 years is football in the developing world. And Africa will benefit immensely. And I'll go further and say, in my view, the World Cup every 2 years will also benefit Europe. The World Cup every 2 years will also benefit the other continents. And what we want is we want European football to grow and to succeed. We want football all over the world to grow and to succeed. My job, my number one job, is to make sure that African football grows and succeeds.
President of the Ghana Football Association, Kurt Okreku, says his administration has done a lot for Ghana football and will continue despite disagreements from certain quarters in the football community. Mr. Okreku told media on Thursday his end goal is to achieve his vision for football.
We would always want to do the very best for our sport. 2 years is already gone. We've done a lot for Ghana football. 2 years ahead of us offers all of us a lot more opportunities to do our best for Ghana football, and we will not renege on our commitment towards the sport. Our intention is to do our maximum for the sport, and I say this all the time, we all have one vision, colleagues. Where we differ is how to navigate the vision, or how to navigate our ideas to the vision that we all share. So the fact that you disagree with my style should not mean you're against me, should not mean I'm against you. The fact that I disagree with your style should not mean I don't love you. We all have one vision, to grow Ghana football.
That is it for sports for now, but you can head on to myjoyonline.com and read some more sports stories. I am Muftau Nabila Abdullahi.
Well, in show business, we will take you live to the courts now, where my colleague Mapito Sibidi is standing by to give us a live report. Rapper Medical has been taken to court today. Mapito, what's the update?
All right, Mama V, if you can hear me, right now, Medical, about 5 minutes ago, entered the courtroom, and 2 hours. We've been here at the circuit courts for 2 hours, and we were waiting for them to decide which court would handle the case. But right now, we're just waiting for the ruling.
And Maps, give us a brief in terms of the atmosphere as he arrived in court.
Honestly, it has been very calm. The only known face here is Fela Makafui, who is Medical's wife, and a few of Medical's boys. But it's just them, the family members, and that's it. It's been extremely calm. Compared to yesterday when Shatawale came to court, you could, it's like literally, there's literally nobody, just the media people, Medical's family, and Medical's wife, and the friends.
And we've seen him briefly in the shots that you sent to us earlier. Was he handcuffed even as he stepped out of the vehicle and was being marched into the courts?
Can you please repeat your question, Mama V?
Oh, just curious. Was he in handcuffs as he was being taken into the courtroom?
Yes, he was in handcuffs, and his demeanor, he looked quite frustrated. He also looked quite inward, and he was very calm. And yeah, that's it.
All right, Mapito, we will wait for you to fill us in when the court proceedings properly gets underway and we understand the charges being slapped. But the reports that MAPS has given us now is that Rapper Medical is in court this afternoon. More a bit later on in our subsequent bulletins. For now, though, that's it for Joy News today. Do log on to myjoyonline.com For more news, my name is Mama Viosa Abuaji. On behalf of the production team, we thank you for your company.